Leo, I once made a huge plan to completely change my life on a Sunday night. I had a notebook, a new pen, and a very serious face. That already sounds dangerous.
Very dangerous. And how long did this brand new life last?
About 36 hours. By Tuesday afternoon, I was back to my old routine, eating snacks and pretending the notebook didn't exist.
That is painfully familiar. So this episode is for everyone who has ever said, "This time I'm really going to change," and then quietly didn't change.
Hey English learners! Welcome back to the Daily English Class, your cozy little place to learn easy English through real everyday conversations.
I'm Leo.
And I'm Emily, currently recovering from many failed Sunday night life plans. Today, we're talking about how to actually change your life, but not in a dramatic way.
Not like deleting every app, buying a new planner, and becoming a completely different person by Monday. Please no.
We're talking about real change, the kind that happens slowly inside normal life, with work, family, tired days, bad moods, and a phone that keeps stealing your attention.
And this matters for English learners too, because many learners don't only want better English. They want better habits, better confidence, and better follow-through.
Follow-through means actually doing what you planned to do. But many of us struggle there. We say, "I'll practice English every day," and then life gets busy.
We say, "I'll exercise this week," and suddenly the sofa becomes very persuasive. We say, "I'll stop wasting time," and one short video turns into 30 minutes in a completely different part of the internet.
That was too accurate. So today, we're going to talk about change in a kinder and smarter way. Because maybe the problem isn't that you're weak.
Maybe the problem is that your strategy is weak. Strategy means the plan or method you use to reach a goal, and that's really the heart of today's episode.
Yes, we're not just talking about wanting change, we're talking about how to make change easier to repeat. And I think language can help with that too.
Because the way we talk to ourselves really matters. If I say, "I'm lazy," I don't feel motivated. I just feel worse.
Same. And "I always fail" sounds so final, like the story is already finished. But it's not finished.
Exactly. So later in Say It Better, we'll take those harsh sentences and make them sound more honest, more natural and kinder.
And we'll also slow down some useful words in Word Tour, words that help you talk about habits, self-control, and real change. So if you're B1 or B2, stay with us, and if you're A2, don't worry about every word.
Just follow the main idea. That's already good practice. And if one phrase feels useful today, maybe write it down and don't let it disappear after the episode.
You can also practice more slowly in the Daily English Class Club with the transcript, quizzes, word tour, and shadowing practice. The link is in the description. All right, let's start with the big question. Why do we want to change and still go back to the same old habits?
Emily, when you said your life-changing plan lasted only 36 hours, what exactly was the plan?
Do we really need the details? Fine. I wanted to wake up early, exercise every morning, eat healthier, practice Spanish, read more books, stop checking my phone, and become a calm person who drinks tea near a window.
That's not a plan. That's a movie trailer. You wanted the whole transformation all at once.
Exactly. And I wanted it immediately. Monday morning was great. I woke up early, felt proud, and thought, this is it. I am a completely different person now.
After one morning? That's impressive confidence.
Very impressive. Then Tuesday came. I slept late, skipped exercise, opened my phone, and promised myself I would restart tomorrow.
Yes. Tuesday, the truth day. Then Wednesday becomes next week, and by Thursday the notebook has disappeared under a pile of receipts.
Exactly. Then I told myself, I have no discipline, I have no willpower.
Willpower means the mental strength to control yourself and keep going when something is hard. But saying that didn't help, did it?
Not at all. It only made me feel worse, and that's where many people get stuck.
And in the snacks.
In self-blame. Also, the snacks. But seriously, many people think self-blame is the same thing as self-improvement.
Say that again because it's important.
Many people think self-blame is the same as self-improvement. But saying, I'm lazy, I failed again, or I never change isn't a strategy. It's just an attack.
So maybe the problem isn't that you have no willpower. Maybe your plan is too big, too vague, and you're trying to build 5 new habits at the same time.
Oh, painfully true. Maybe I made change feel too heavy, too serious, and far too dramatic.
And when normal life returned, the entire plan slowly collapsed. So I started thinking that maybe I was broken or simply didn't have enough discipline to change.
No, you weren't broken at all. Your system just wasn't helping you. And sometimes the problem isn't the person, but the way their life is set up.
System sounds like a very serious and complicated word.
It sounds serious, but it's actually very simple because your system is just your everyday environment. Your schedule, your habits, your reminders, your phone, and the people around you.
So if I say, I'll practice English every day, but I never decide when I'm going to do it, where I'm going to do it, or how I'm going to do it, then I don't really have a plan.
Exactly, because that's only a wish with good intentions. And unfortunately, good intentions by themselves don't create new habits.
I think I usually start with emotion because I watch an inspiring video, feel excited for 10 minutes, and suddenly decide that I'm going to completely change my entire life.
Most people do that because inspiration is wonderful for getting started, but it doesn't stay forever, and it usually disappears when real life becomes busy and tiring.
That's true because on Sunday night I feel powerful and motivated, but by Tuesday evening after work I'm a different person who only wants rice, silence, and a comfortable place to sit.
Very specific and very real. And that's why a plan that only works when you're motivated usually doesn't last very long.
So motivation is useful and important, but it isn't enough to build a lasting habit.
Right, because a good strategy asks, how can I make this action easy enough to repeat again and again, instead of asking, how can I make myself suffer more?
Let's use English learning as an example because I think a lot of people listening to us will recognize this situation immediately.
A learner says, I want to improve my speaking skills, which is a strong goal. But then they say, I'll practice when I have time. And that's where the problem begins.
Yes, because when I have time sounds like a plan, but it often means never, while a much better plan would be, after breakfast, I will practice speaking for 5 minutes.
5 minutes sounds so small that many people think it can't possibly make a difference. But small actions are easier to repeat, and repeated actions matter far more than one huge effort.
That's slightly annoying because it's completely true, and most useful things in life seem to be a little annoying, like eating vegetables, getting enough sleep, and answering emails.
Let's not spend too much time talking about emails and talk about procrastination instead.
Procrastination means delaying something important even though you know you should do it, and honestly, that's one of my special talents.
I thought your special talent was buying serious notebooks and creating dramatic life plans every few months.
I have many talents, thank you very much, but I often delay messages, forms, exercise, and sometimes even calling a friend.
That makes perfect sense because even a simple task like calling a friend can suddenly feel difficult when your brain starts asking questions like, what if they're busy? Or what if I don't know what to say?
Exactly. And then the task starts feeling much heavier than it really is, so I avoid it completely and promise myself that I'll do it later.
That's why procrastination isn't always laziness, because sometimes it's confusion, fear, perfectionism, or simply being tired and mentally exhausted.
That explanation sounds generous, but it also feels like an uncomfortable truth.
So instead of saying, I'm lazy, ask yourself, what's the barrier? Because a barrier is simply something that blocks your progress or makes an action feel difficult.
And once you know the barrier, you can create a better strategy. Because if the barrier is fear, you can practice alone first, repeat one podcast line, or record a single sentence.
And if the barrier is forgetfulness, you can put it on your calendar or leave your notebook beside your coffee cup. And if the barrier is boredom, you can turn the activity into a game, a challenge, or a role play.
So the better question isn't always, how can I try harder? But rather, what exactly is making this so difficult for me right now?
Exactly. And there's another problem that many of us secretly have, which is that we love quick comfort and immediate rewards.
Impulsivity, and please don't diagnose me so quickly because this conversation is starting to feel very personal.
Impulsivity means doing something quickly because you want an immediate reward, without thinking very much about the long-term result.
That's rude because it's completely accurate, since I often plan to do something important and then suddenly notice my phone sitting there looking very interesting.
Very suspicious.
I pick it up for what I think will be 1 minute, which of course is never actually 1 minute, and then somehow I'm watching another man build a swimming pool in the middle of a forest.
Of course. And the sad part is that you genuinely wanted to do the important thing, but the easy and enjoyable thing was right in front of you.
That's impulsivity because the brain usually chooses the quick reward over the meaningful reward.
So instead of only fighting that tendency, work with it a little by connecting small rewards to your good habits.
For example, only listening to your favorite podcast while walking, practicing English through a game instead of always using a serious notebook, or making yourself a cup of tea before your 5-minute English practice.
Exactly, because the point is that you shouldn't make every good habit feel like punishment, since people usually stop doing things that feel painful and unpleasant every single day.
So the better question becomes, what is the easiest useful thing that I can repeat consistently? Which is much less exciting than changing your whole life, but definitely more realistic.
Let me ask you something. Do you ever make a plan and tell absolutely nobody because it feels safer that way?
Always, because if I fail and nobody knows about my plan, then I don't have to feel embarrassed or explain anything to anyone.
It does feel emotionally safer, but sometimes we need accountability, which simply means being responsible for the promises and goals that we set for ourselves.
I have complicated feelings about accountability because if I ask someone to check on my English practice tomorrow, I immediately regret being so brave.
That's very real. But it also works because when another person knows your goal, it becomes more than a private wish and starts to feel like a promise.
And accountability should be supportive and kind, not someone saying, "You failed again," because that only creates shame instead of motivation.
Exactly. Because better questions are, did you get your 5 minutes today? Or would you like to practice together for a few minutes?
That feels much more encouraging and helpful.
Accountability should support you and gently keep you on track, not make you feel bad about yourself.
I think I'm finally understanding something important, which is that change isn't one huge moment that happens overnight, but a collection of many small choices and designs that slowly shape your life.
And when normal life finally returned, the whole plan slowly fell apart. But that doesn't mean you were broken or lacked discipline, because sometimes the real problem isn't the person at all. It's simply that their system isn't helping them succeed.
So the issue wasn't me, it was the way my life was set up, because if I say, I'm going to practice English every day, but I never decide when, where, or how I'm going to do it, then I don't really have a plan. I've only made a nice wish with good intentions.
Exactly. And most of us begin with emotion because we watch something inspiring, feel excited for a few minutes, and suddenly decide that we're about to completely transform our entire lives. Even though inspiration is wonderful for getting started, but rarely stays when normal life becomes busy and exhausting.
That's so true because on Sunday night I feel motivated, powerful, and ready to change everything. But by Tuesday evening after work, I'm a completely different person who only wants rice, silence, and a comfortable place to sit.
Which is why a plan that depends entirely on motivation usually doesn't survive for very long. Because a better strategy asks, how can I make this action simple enough to repeat every day? Instead of asking, how can I force myself to work harder?